first one is entitled While Driving Home. While driving home the other day, a bewildered tourist got in my way. He looked to the left, he looked to the right, he drove so darn slow we got stuck at a light. And so, while the traffic in front of us crossed, I pulled alongside him and said, "Are you lost?" "I can't find the road to Mount Rushmore," he stated. I gave him directions. He seemed so elated. His name I knew not. He was one of some thousands who descend on us yearly, like flies do on cow's ends. For those with no patience, I'll finish this rhyme. Just remember, you might be the tourist next time. This next one incorporates one of my other loves besides writing and my grandchildren, the game of golf. This is entitled Beneath Aspen Leaves. Playing golf in the autumnal season is a folly beyond any reason. Aye, the weather is fair, with a nip in the air. 'Tis the ball that commits acts of treason. Without malice, the white orb deceives, as it flies through the sky that it cleaves. Though you tracked it so well, there'll be snowflakes in hell ere you find it beneath aspen leaves. So I wrote eyes in the back of my head. If I had had eyes in the back of my head, I'd have seen the blow coming that just struck me dead. But I didn't, and so on a morgue slab I lie, waiting for someone to enter and cry, "Yes, that's him," as a white-coated man lifts the sheet that covers me all the way down to my feet. Although it's not funny, I'd laugh if I could, for I never imagined that someday I would put some words in an order to fashion a rhyme that poets would surely consider a crime against all they hold precious, all they hold dear. For you see, I am one of those people they fear, who puts pen to paper and then in some haste writes a poem that may perhaps be in bad taste. But what do I care? As I told you, I'm dead, for I didn't have eyes in the back of my head. So I've got a few lyrics here for you. The rules of our language are quaint and often result in restraint. For as I try to find the right word in my mind, the one I think proper just ain't. And this one I think is appropriate for our venue tonight. There is a librarian named Melvin, whose middle name, oddly, is Kelvin. Now you might think that I'm truly stuck for a rhyme, but I'm not, because Melvin's reshelvin'. This is as close as I get to those people who think limericks should be senior poem. There once was a man from Tangier who invented the perfect brassiere. It fastened in front without strain, pinch, or grunt, unlike others that hooked in the rear. Apparently you have to be familiar with it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Two more and then I'll vacate the podium. There once was a man so disdainful that just seeing his face was quite painful. To the circus he went, and once inside a tent, found employment that turned out quite gainful. And lastly, I once knew a girl named Dolores who sang in an all-woman chorus. They knew just one song that they sang all day long, and quite frankly, it really did bore us. Thank you.
This is called The Language of My First Interracial Date. The Polish kid from high school is in love with me and plays the tenor sax while I dance with the others. My mother always said to go home with the guy who brung you. You know how it is. Save the last dance for me. Country dances are like that. Rustic, loud, but not so simple. The surrealist airiness born of fear was more my style. and I needed excitement because I've never been anywhere to see what was on the other side of the mountain, of the river, down the road. So I put my hand through the hole in the fence, but when I brought it back, the outcome of this perfectly curious and tongue-tied longing enraged the Polish kid in love who called me chicken shit and lapsed into cliches, rising, I thought then, into common images of the simple, singular life. I thought better of it now. So it's called After a Talk with an Editor. This day won't shine, and I don't feel just right. Down to the last drips of my favorite latte, copy editor's pen at the ready. It will soon rain, and I will remember the snotty telephone conversation and him shouting, "Don't be that way." This day the sun won't shine. This day I don't know how many doors I have slammed in his calm face, watched rusted leaves falling to the ground from my window under the morning fog, for this day the sun won't shine. From my isolation, I would like to think of simple things like when all the folks of the earth are judged by the height of the sun, to live off our own darkness and put our darkness with our own shadow in the sun's history. So, naturally, I can tell him, don't say another word, for I won't succumb to a straight line, just to be happy, or to breathe, or to turn into something else. It would be a terrible thing, though, if tomorrow I said, this day the sun won't shine. So, this day of war, I was to leave for Cleveland the day he made it home. Great, weighty cottonwoods covered with snow of winter splinter and fall into the wind. Flights canceled, streets filled with wreckers. There may never be peace again. I see him in the backyard pine tree house, a boy reading The Far Side, and now he's running from guns. Over 6 feet tall, he looks at himself in the mirror a dozen times, making sure he's not vanished. All afternoon, he carries wood from the snowdrifts. I watch, condemned to witness another generation passing to war. Thank you.